Hi everyone, today I'm meeting with Issa Seck, one of our great leaders in our community. I really want you guys to really know a little bit more about him. And after that, I'm gonna actually ask you guys to listen a little bit of what he's doing for our children here in our community also. Hi Issa, how's it going?
Hi Diani, I'm good. How are you?
Good, pretty good. Yeah. So we've known each other for a few years now.
Yeah.
And your story is kind of like in the back of my head. Like I want to know a little bit more about Issa, the reason why Issa is Issa. Like how did you grow up? Where are you from?
I'm from Senegal. It's in West Africa, and I came here a little bit over 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I went to UDM, University of Moncton, and I took a bachelor in international management. And after graduating, I worked for ExxonMobil for a little bit over 10 years, I'll say. And I decided to open my own business, and here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like growing in Senegal, how was it?
Well, it's very different from here,
Yeah.
as weather-wise and culturally and everything is different. So it was a big adjustment for me, and I think a lot of young people coming for university or migrating here can speak for that. But the culture was different, so when I came here, I had to adjust, and honestly, I would say it took me about 8 years.
Wow.
To really know that I'm integrated and I understand how the society works and all that. Before that, after 4 years, I thought I was all good, but when I get into the workforce,
Yeah.
it was a total different reality, and now I made myself, I have a family, I have friends and everything like that, yeah.
Like what was the culture shock that you can remember that was like, oof, what's hard for you?
Well, I would say everything is different.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, when the way what's normal here might not be normal over there, and what's normal over there might not be normal here. So it was definitely took me time to sit back and just observe, and also try to understand how this society works, and take the goods and integrate it with all the other goods I had in my luggage.
That makes sense. I remember Nico, my youngest, saying a few months ago a story about your father and a bike, and it was pretty interesting for him, and he had to share that with me. So I really want to know like a little bit more about that story about the bike.
So what happened? My dad is a very conservative and firm person, right? And when he says something, he tends to follow up with it. So I was going to school, and I was not doing too bad, but I was doing all right. And to this day, I never had owned a bike. You know, I had to buy one after I started working. So it was my dream as a young man to have a bike. So when he traveled one day, he went to France, and he told me, I'm going to bring you a brand new bike, but your grade have to be higher. You got to score high, and he gave me a number, like let's say A.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but I came up with a D. So, and I was still like, okay, well, he's still gonna do it. So he called my cousin, and he made me give him the bike.
Okay.
Because I didn't keep my word. And I tend to explain that to the kids in a different ways, that sometimes you don't always get what you want, and sometimes you learn from those things. But I can tell you, from that point, if I was doing very good at school, because I wanted other things, and I knew that if I mess up, and honestly, I think for me personally, it was my personality and the culture that we grew up in, it helped me more than anything else.
Yeah.
Might be a total different story if you do it here.
Yeah, I know. But it was funny because they kind of understood that part of, and they kind of tried to explain what you were saying. And I was like, okay, on the bike and Issa, I need to know that story a little bit more. No, I really love the fact that when it comes to our children, you really focus on activities, physical activities, and also you work on bullying, respect, and those are the things. Like, they still have fun. They have a bouncy castle here at the daycare, right? They have activities that they do, but I kind of, for me personally, as a mother with two mixed kids, right? They have a way of, like, especially my youngest, right? He's very, very active. And you know that. You know how Nico is. And I feel like it's so good to have somebody teaching them respect, and it's not just at home. You know, a lot of people say, you have to do that at home. You have to do that at home. But actually, a community helps one another.
Absolutely.
Is that something that you wanted from the beginning? You said you were opening your business. Is that a focus you already had, or it just came later on?
It's interesting, like the way things evolve in this business for me, because I'm just gonna go back from how it came. I worked at Exxon, and I was doing a night shift, and one day I'm sitting down there and I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, I'm like, if I die today, because it's a question that we all ask ourselves, like, would I be happy with my life? And it was no. And the most important thing for me, and to this day, is freedom. Now, I didn't like it much, being told when to take my break, when to do this, that. And when I'm looking at it, I say, I'm gonna work until I'm 65. And then I will retire, I have a good pension and everything, but I might not, it's not 100% that I will even make it to that point. So life is right now, what can I do that make me feel free? And I can do what I love and still make money, make a living out of it. So I've been always into martial arts since I was 7 years old. And I competed a lot. I did taekwondo, did jiu-jitsu and all those kind of stuff. So at a certain point, I had also a coworker that was going to the gym and wasn't seeing that much result. So I decided, okay, we go to the same gym at the same time. I'm gonna help you out. When I go, I'll see you, we'll do something. So I helped her, and then she lost weight. And that person was my first client when I opened my gym. And I had another coworker that also joined. So we start just working around like that. So the first initiative was to open a gym. So when we start doing that, it was also to train fighters, because that was that's what I knew. And when we started slowly doing classes, and I realized that the clientele was different. I had a lot of ladies coming in, few guys, and all those things. And when it started evolving, I had few people joining to help me, and we built and start working at this place here. So after a while, I published a book, which the title is on Amazon, Bulletproof. And that explained to me, my stepdaughter went through bullying. That's where it all started for me. Having your kids, sometime when they go through stuff, you actually get involved into it. So from where I'm from, bullying was not something that we recognize. But now that I think about it, we've went through it every day. Right? So, but the society, it was so okay, and people don't really pay attention to those things. So when she was going to school and she was having issues there with other kids, like doing stuff, so I was telling her what to do, and at the end it worked, and that's what helped, like what gave me the initiative to publish a book, to just show, okay, this is what you, as a parent, this is what you should look for. As a kid, this is what you can do. few type of bullying, recognize it. It's like self-defense, right? It can be verbal, physical, cyber, or you name it, social. So from there, we decided, okay, we're gonna do the birthday parties.
Okay.
So which we have playtime where we have bouncy castle, kids can play. And as we go, well, it was also another additive for the adding a daycare, business-wise. But the cool thing was that, okay, now you have a lot of kids that they go to daycares. And some of them, they get kicked out, and all those kind of stuff happen. And they have a lot of energy, okay? And that energy, I always believe that if you channel it properly and you teach them how to manage it, because you can see a kid that is full of energy causing a lot of trouble as per se, but that energy, if used into sports, they're excellent athletes.
Yeah.
You know, all those things, ADHD, whatever it is, if it's channeled properly, it can have a positive outcome.
Yeah.
So that's why we have an active daycare where the kids can be themselves. We give them a space, which is a big gym, to run, scream, bump into stuff, wherever they just let an outlet to let it out. And also when they come up, we get them also teach them how to cool down by focusing on different things.
Yeah.
So that way, these kids, you see how, like if I take your son Nico, Nico is a very, very, very high energy and stuff.
Yes.
But from the first time when he got here, from being a kid that was almost borderline aggressive, now, I mean, he not perfect yet, but he is a huge change.
Yeah.
And to me, you never want to give up on those, because these are going to be the next generation.
Yes.
They're going to be the one taking over after us. Yeah. So we need to do the best we can to help them to grow up the best way they can, right?
Yeah,
So
and I agree, and I love everything that you just said. And again, taking Nico as the example is the fact. I remember you reaching out and being like, "Hey, Diani, like the signs that I'm seeing here, he might have ADHD, right?" And for me, as I've always been really open-minded, and like I love people working together to help our kids. So I never been a parent who shut down and be like, "No, my kid doesn't," So I was like, yeah, okay. So he has ADHD. He's fine with it. He's on his medication and he's doing better. But I feel it kind of important when you as a teacher, right, as teaching our kids how to be great leaders for the future, for the parents to be really beside you. Absolutely. And because you have the focus on helping your kids, right? If remember Nico, if he gets too excited, you take him aside and like, let's go to the gym, go run, or go punch the punching bag. And I think it's so important what you're doing. I think it's beautiful because we don't see a daycare like this. You really have like a one-of-a-kind daycare here in New Brunswick where you really focus on the kids. And I feel like it's very important for people to really know what you're doing and what was the story behind it and why you're doing all that. When it comes for yourself, what do you see? What's your vision? What do you hope seeing on the kids?
Well, the kids, as we're going, I'm noticing it's generation, and not only daycare. And I think there's two beautiful things that happen since I've been doing this. And always, every time when you start something, you have questions like, am I doing it the right way? It's like parenting.
Yeah.
We always ask, are we parenting the right way? Because you can have 2, 3 kids, they're not the same. So you cannot parent them all the same. You can have the same base at the foundation you want to parent them, but it's going to be different. So what we do, you're always wondering. So I have 2 situations that these kids now are over 18, one is 20.
Yeah.
So the first example is when I just opened and I started, I had a girl that was brought to me. And she was, I'll say about 14 at that age. And she was cutting herself and doing a lot of things that are really heartbreaking for a parent.
Yeah.
So a parent brought her through a therapist and all that. She never want to talk or do anything. But anger issues and all those things. So when she came, she didn't talk to me for 6 months.
Okay.
And all we did is we went in the room, we did some boxing and stuff, she punched, kicked, went.
Okay.
After that time, she started opening up and we start talking. So she started telling me things that bothers her.
Yeah.
And we were able to get things because at that point she wasn't going to school. And after a year or two, I was able to get her to go back, finish her study, and get into something, right? And I bumped into her during the summer, and I was happy because I saw that she grew up to be a strong young lady and was doing great. To me, that was one thing that said, okay, I think we are doing something right.
Yeah.
We're making changes in this kid's life. Because if maybe that didn't happen, it could have turned out into something else.
Yeah.
Right? And the other one is a kid that was brought to me a long time ago. And I started too, like young, into sports. And we worked hard, building confidence, building athleticism. And now, today, like last week, he stopped by here to say thank you because he made it to a big league. I'm not gonna name the name of the team just for the confidentiality, but he made it like almost halfway to his dream.
Wow.
So these things are what we look into and say, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and we will make change into these kids' lives. And honestly, we don't shy away from taking some complicated cases.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, and we love challenge anyway.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's very important because it's just the fact that you just said it, you don't step away from helping, right? And I think it's kind of important for change.
Yeah.
You need to do something different,
Absolutely.
right? And you guys are doing something different, and that's how we can actually create change
Absolutely.
and make it better. And I just really love what you're doing, and I love your story, and I love the fact that you have such a focus on our kids because you said earlier, they pretty much are the next generation, right? If we don't take care of them now, and if we don't help them now, at the end of the day, we're gonna be the one suffering from it,
Absolutely.
right? So I think it's kind of very important, and obviously, as a mother, I thank you for taking the time with our kids and the patience, of course, also with the kids, and just having a daycare that is totally different from what we see around. I feel like it's important for sure.
I think whatever we do, like as adults, either with our kids or other kids, we need to build trust with them. And I personally think that, and I just throw it out there, there's a difference between showing loving your kid and parenting your kid.
Yeah.
To me, I also see it here. The kids I try to build the confidence with them because they know that if they have an issue, I'll be listening, I'll be fair to them.
Yes.
Okay? But if they are not listening, also I'll put my foot down in a serious way. So that way we have that understanding and that communication and allowing them to express themselves. And also challenging if it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So they know how to communicate within them. And the funny thing is, every time you'll get always kids yelling at each other. And this is something I took from Senegal, like my background culture.
Yeah.
Every time you will fight with your brother or sister, at the end of the day, the parents, they make you shake hands. So every time you have a kid here, two kids coming, oh, this one did this to me, this one did it. Okay, what happened? Okay, why? How do you feel this about this? Okay, let's fix it. All right, let's shake hands. They all shake hands, and next thing you know, they're hopping around, going back. So
they're
there's
fine.
no hard feeling at the end,
Yeah.
right? So that's
Oh,
what it
I'm
is.
gonna start doing that at home. I think at home I do the opposite. Like I have this like Latino mom thing where I'm like, you only have one brother, like don't argue, and then they start crying, they hug each other. Kind of works.
That works too. That works too.
You know, I have a different way of doing it, but
Yeah.
I remember Nico was like, why do you always do that? You're like, oh, you only have one brother and then you make us cry. And I'm like, oh, well, it works. But I love this shaking hand one. Like, try that one too. Well, no, I think it's pretty awesome. And I thank you so much, Issa, for what you're doing. Let's have like this question that I always wanted to ask you. Like, if you could ask or see yourself as that little kid in Senegal, what would you tell yourself?
Well, that's a tough one.
I know, right?
Well, it's just live your life to the fullest, and and I always believe this: treat everybody the way you wish to be treated. And I mean, I think I've done that most of my life, and nobody's perfect.
For sure.
You know, sometimes you do stuff, but you learn from it and you get better.
Exactly.
Okay, so go to school if school is for you. If it's not, do something else.
Yeah.
And last thing is, whatever you do, make sure you love it, and also it can generate you some money too.
Yeah.
And you're good at it.
Yeah.
So I think if for the kids, it's finding their path.
Exactly.
And we should always focus on seeing their potential, what skills they're good at, how they can like it, and then how they can be successful with it. Because I think that has to do with self-esteem, everything that's gonna, when they grow up, and happiness.
I
So
love
it's
that.
just, the end is just to be happy.
Exactly. For the entrepreneur side as an adult, let's say anybody who right now are thinking on going for their dream or thinking of maybe switching that life of a 9 to 5 where they're not happy into something like I make my own decisions, I'm my own boss. What's the best advice you have for them?
Well, do your research
Yeah.
and have a plan. Have a plan, because sometimes I myself started probably started over 15 businesses before, and a lot of time I've been juggling between this and that, but the original idea seemed to always be the best one.
Yeah.
Now, there's this survival thing, because personally we started this from scratch, and sometimes it needed different things. But I wish I had a better planning
Yeah.
and better follow-up on things and not wasting my time on different things.
Yeah.
I think you need to have a good plan, you have to be consistent
Yeah.
on what you do, and then you will see result. And don't be afraid to make some changes,
Yeah.
because sometimes you might be pushing, it doesn't work, take a pause, make some changes, adjust, and move forward, don't quit.
So also you do self-defense classes and you started those classes when?
We started the self-defense last year with the daycare kids.
Okay.
And it's also open to the public with a limited number.
Okay.
But what we are doing is, just because of my background of mixed martial art, I mean, I fought professionally as an MMA fighter before. So we're using that to try to teach the kids different martial art background.
Okay.
So we do it 3 times per week.
Okay.
We Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we take 45 minutes. So I don't usually like to say MMA because of the name. Parents see it as it's too aggressive.
Okay.
But I always say it's just self-defense martial art, basically. But when they come doing those classes, they learn how to wrestle, how to do boxing, how to do kickboxing.
Nice.
Because if you look at it in a real environment, you might need all those tools or skills to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And they also get to learn what self-defense is.
Yeah.
And also when self-defense become aggression.
Yeah.
Because if, let's say, you come, you push me down, this is an example I always give them, I have to tell you to stop and keep my space.
Yeah.
And if you come in and then you attack me, I got to defend myself. But the purpose of defending yourself is not when you get in a position, then you start hitting the person or...
Yeah.
Because once you neutralize the person, that's your self-defense.
Yeah.
The moment you start hitting them, you become the aggressor at that point.
Yeah.
And if the police come or if I come on those things, you will be both in equal trouble.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids don't understand that at school. They get in school, they say, well, he hit me first.
So I hit him right
I
away.
hit him back, you know,
Yeah.
and we both get in trouble. Yes, you will both get in trouble.
Yeah.
If he hits you, well, if you still, okay, go tell somebody, they're going to take care of it.
Yeah.
You're trusting that they're going to take care of it.
Yeah.
And if you get attacked like that, you are use what you learn to neutralize the person and call for help, because that's the right thing to do at that point. And from there, you won't get in trouble. So
Yeah,
those are the things that you teach them, and you always see that light. Oh,
it
I
makes
didn't know
sense.
that.
That's why I got in trouble last time.
Well, even for adults, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know that, but
Yeah.
that's the difference. We teach them into the
That's so
self-defense.
true.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. It was so awesome sitting down with Issa Seck today. And stay tuned because we have even more leaders coming up. Thank you.